Is it recording? There we go. We're going to welcome Eric Beardmore to the Employer in Residence program on Thursday, the 25th of February. And I just want to welcome you to the program and appreciate you popping in and giving us a little bit of information about your employer and everything that you have to offer and what you're looking for in the students. So if you wouldn't mind just giving a little bit of information about you, your employer, and how you came to work for the employer, and then we'll just go from there.
Perfect. So thank you so much for having me. My name is Eric Beardmore. I am a division recruiter with Consolidated Electrical Distributors, or CED. I'm actually based in Indiana, but I cover a territory from Northwest Indiana through Illinois, primarily in the Chicagoland area, all of Wisconsin, and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. We have a location there as well. So as of June of this year, I will have been with CED for 6 years. It's the only real full-time job I've ever had. I got a call out of the blue from a recruiter when I was a student at Purdue University my senior year. Told me about this company I'd never heard of called CED and kind of what they did. I wasn't really sure, but they were offering a really nice dinner to go talk about it with some other people, so I did that. I was really sold on the sense of autonomy that we have in the business. The ability to be in a management position and make an impact in a relatively short period of time. So I entered our management training program and completed training assignments in the Chicagoland area for about 2.5 years. And then I was named the location manager. We call our individual locations profit center, so you might hear me use that term, but I was named the profit center manager in Naperville, Illinois, which is in the west suburbs of Chicago at the beginning of 2018. I managed that location for the better part of 3 years before transitioning into this recruiting role. And in my current role, I am responsible for all of our campus recruiting. I also serve as a resource to all of our location managers when they're looking to fill specific positions. So if they want to do that on their own, they're welcome to do that. But sometimes they ask me for support, whether it's posting ads, helping with their interview process, and so forth. And then I also mentor our interns and our trainees, so our management and sales trainees throughout the division. I'm a point of contact for them and try to help them through their time and towards their ultimate goals of getting into sales or management with CED.
Excellent. That's a lot of information. Would you like to go into what your employer does in the background?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we consider ourselves the best employer that you've never heard of. So CED is a wholesale electrical distributor. So what that means is that we sell electrical parts and supplies for buildings. We're not a manufacturer, but we sell that material. It's business to business. We sell to electricians. So these are the people that are installing, maintaining, or replacing electrical equipment in buildings. That's everything from the copper wire that runs through the walls, the tubing that goes through, light fixtures and light bulbs, outlets and switches that you use in your everyday life, panel boards, circuit breakers, fuses. We stock thousands of different products, and we have access to many more.
Excellent. And as far as recruiting, you had talked about your internship program. What are you looking to fulfill currently? Is it internships primarily, or do you have some full-time opportunities? And could you walk through a little bit of information about that as well?
Absolutely. So we're hiring for 3 different positions right now. Number 1 is the internship. So we sort of title it the sales and operations internship. So it really focuses on management, some operations, and sales. It's a great opportunity to be a part of a functioning business. And so most of our locations have fewer than 10 people, and we have over 700 locations nationwide. Our Lakeshore division that I recruit for, we have 23 locations, and we can take interns in a number of them, but it's an internship that focuses on understanding how business works, being very hands-on. It's not just a desk job, but you really are making an impact on a business. It's not just a simulation, and it's a great opportunity to get your foot in the door and to understand the company and the industry. We have a really high conversion rate. Almost 3 out of 4 of our interns convert into some sort of full-time position. So it's a great way to find an opportunity full-time for us as well. And then as far as the full-time positions, there's two that we hire for. The first one is sales trainee. And so that is more individual location specific. So sort of an extension of the internship. The goal is that after about a year to a year and a half of training, we can fully deploy you as an inside salesperson working in operations and purchasing. There's potential for outside sales as well. So what's nice about this program is it deploys you fairly quickly. You're part of one location the entire time. So if you want to stay in your hometown, or you have a significant other that's moving somewhere else, that's a great position that allows you to learn so much about the business while being in one location. And then finally, we have our management training program, which is our fast track to management. It's for people who are really high ability, interested in doing lots of outside sales. They want to manage people and be responsible for a business. Our management training program is so unique because we give you the opportunity after about 2 to 2.5 years of training to actually run one of our locations. It's not a startup thing. You don't have to put any of your own money into it, but you get full autonomy over how we price our material, what we stock, how we compensate our people, how we run our business, what your sales plan is. And so you get to actually be a profit center manager at the end of it. So, excuse me, one of the things that is a little bit more challenging in the management training program is there's just a lot more to learn, but also it requires some geographic flexibility, as we do require you to relocate a couple times within our territory. We do cover all those relocating expenses, but we know that there are some people that they sort of want to get their life started in one spot, and we understand that everybody has a different personal life and different concerns to address there. So our management training program is very intensive and does require you to relocate a couple times, but you get placed as a manager and you are in charge of people. You're supervising a business 2 to 2.5 years after graduating from college.
Sounds like an excellent opportunity for whatever track you'd like to explore. So getting into the opportunities, what would you be looking for in the applicants for each of those categories? And are you looking for one particular major, or can you talk a little bit about what you're looking for?
Sure. So as far as major goes, that is a question that we get a lot. Ultimately, we want people who have a business mindset. We want people who are interested in sales. They're very entrepreneurial minded. They don't have to be people that want to, pick up the phone and call 40 customers a day. We don't have high volume cold calls or anything like that. But people who have an interest in sales and business development, people who are self-starters and want to take initiative, they really want to feel that business hands-on. It's not an analysis role. It's not in a cubicle. We have our trainees and interns doing everything from pulling orders in the warehouse to answering the phone to helping with customer service to going on sales calls. And so it's people that have curious minds and want to ask questions, challenge the status quo, and have a lot of autonomy. And there's just not. We don't have lots of checklists or tasks that you have to complete just for the sake of it. You have the benefit of working for a large company, but we're not very corporate in nature. So not a lot of top-down directives, and we really give people a long leash to sort of do things as they see fit.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. My next question would be for Adam. If you have anything that you'd like to ask or comment on, certainly jump on in. I don't want to have this be me talking the entire time. But as far as the jobs that you have available and the applicants that you're looking for, what can you say as far as your favorite part of your job?
Wow. Well, great question. So I'm in sort of a unique role because most of what I'm doing is recruiting. So it's not quite as traditional sales oriented, although my boss tells me I'm not an HR guy, I'm a salesperson because I'm selling the opportunities that we have. I think that what's so great about my job is that I get to do it the way I want. It's been challenging doing, I started in this role in August. And so right in the peak of pandemic, we've been doing virtual career fairs. And, my boss told me, he said, Eric, if you don't want to do any career fairs, you don't have to. He's like, it's up to you. He's like, you got to find the people and, I trust you to find the way. So I think that, again, it goes back to the autonomy that I have. I don't have to fill out reports of, how many people I talk to or what, it's about achieving results. And I think that when you see people who have progressed in our company, no matter what role they're in, there's a clear path and there's evidence of their success, and you understand why they've gotten those promotions. And we promote almost exclusively from within. So great company to grow with, and again, very results based, not a whole lot of politics.
Excellent, because that kind of led into my next question about the company culture and what can expect to work there, like a typical day and the culture that comes along with that.
So again, that decentralized nature of our company, right, where each individual location is making its own decisions and running its business, that is our core value, right? That over time, our decentralized individual business units are going to they're going to outperform our more centralized competitors. And so there's a strong culture in each one of our businesses, and some are very small, some are very large, of taking care of your local customers. It's about, if we're in Eau Claire, or we're in La Crosse, or we're in Appleton or Milwaukee, when I go into those buildings, those people care so much about their customer base, and they are setting up their business to take care of their customers. So people work hard, very customer service minded. We want to go the extra mile for our customers. Our tagline is service, integrity, and reliability. And remember, most of our competitors, they're stocking the same material that we are. Think of it kind of like a grocery store, right? There's a lot of places you can buy sliced bread or eggs or Coca-Cola or Oreos, right? You can buy those items at a gas station probably, but there's a reason that you go. Typically, people go grocery shopping the same place every time, and that's sort of a combination of you think the price is acceptable, it's reasonably close to where you work or where you live. You kind of know where things are at, and so our customers are very habitual, and so you see a strong culture of that customer service and really taking care of their business locally. You sort of get the best of both worlds. You have this small business feel, but the support of a much larger company.
Excellent. So can you run us through kind of a typical, what you would do in a typical day, or what some of the positions of the internship would do on a typical day, and maybe touch on a little bit more of like where you're located and I guess, you're during the pandemic, are people working from home right now, or are you working in a, brick and mortar location? Kind of give a feel of what that looks like as well.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot to unpack in that, and I'll start with as far as are people working remotely or not. Most of our locations have fewer than 10 people. I would also say about half to 2/3 of employees in our company are spending a majority of their day in some sort of warehouse or logistics function. So moving material, whether it's on a truck or it's in our warehouse, those are things you obviously can't do from home. So we have had to keep a vast majority of our employees in person. We're using all the obvious protocols to ensure the safety and distancing of people, which usually isn't super hard because, again, we don't have a lot of people in the buildings. But I think during the peak of the pandemic in sort of March and April of last year, we did have some more people working remote, but our business isn't very well designed to do that, right? We have a lot of customers that come physically pick up material. We have customers that have high expectations from us from a delivery standpoint. And so I think that traditionally we haven't had a lot of people working remotely. Now, I do a lot of remote work because I'm a recruiter. I can do it like I'm sitting in my house right now. And so, again, sort of depending on the position, but generally speaking, we are in person. Our internships will be in person. We are 100% certain on that. I know that people are, getting a little tired of this virtual world, and I think that it's a great opportunity to be meeting people and be around a culture and really feel. And I think that's a little harder to do online. As far as where our locations are, we are spread out all over the country. Some states a little bit more dense than others. In the state, I'll just use Wisconsin, for example. We're very well spread out in the states. So we have a location in Eau Claire, La Crosse. We are in Appleton and Green Bay. We're in Madison, Portage, and Beloit. And then we have several locations in the Milwaukee metro area, with our largest being in Pewaukee, in the Waukesha area. That's our largest location in Wisconsin. Wisconsin. So our division, we have a lot of presence in the Chicagoland area. We have a large location in Champaign, Illinois, right next to the University of Illinois. And then we have a few locations in Northwest Indiana that are part of our division as well. So as far as a typical day, that's going to look different depending on the business. So, for me as a recruiter, I'm always searching through different career platforms. I'm looking on LinkedIn. I'm looking for students. I'm doing career fairs, which at least for now are virtual. I have a lot of conversations daily with individuals who are interested in our programs that we find and that we have initial conversations. We do most of our interview process in person. We really want to make sure that both for the company and for the candidate that we're getting a really accurate read on each other and making sure that everybody's comfortable with the culture and understanding what the work environment is like. And then on the subject of work environment and then what sort of a normal day in one of our profit center locations looks like, our locations have an office area and then they have a warehouse. So it's all one building. All locations have a warehouse, but don't think like a large Amazon warehouse. You don't have scanner guns in very many of our locations because they're not that big. We have like bin locations, but not a lot of scanner guns. It's just not cost effective for what we're doing. But really a typical day, most locations have fewer than 10 people. So it's not my job. It's not really in our vocabulary. We rely on people to wear a lot of different hats. You could be, I remember days when I was in the training program, I worked at our downtown Chicago location, which is actually a small location that's focused on very quick service. So sometimes I would come in at 7 a.m. and they would say, "Hey, Eric, we got a truck loaded up for you. We need to run a couple things out. Somebody just called in an order." Or it could be, we're a little slow right now. I'm going to look at our stock and see what we need to purchase and bring some more items in. It could be, we need to work on our pricing. This is a little bit off, or, we feel like we need to make some tweaks. Sometimes the phone is ringing off the hook. That's how a lot of orders get placed. So answering the phone, order fulfillment. So everything's a little bit different. And I think that's one of the things that our employees, including myself, like the most about this company is that there's a variety of work. You're not just sitting there. You're doing so many different things. And as a result, you're learning about different parts of business. You're not just stuck into one department. But I've learned a lot about, our accounting and our sales and our purchasing and our operations and the credit side, how we collect our money from the customers. And so whether you're an intern or in any of our full-time positions, you really get to see all these numbers and how it all comes together. And that's not very common for a company as large as ours. And we have over 7,500 employees. We do over $5 billion in annual revenue as a company. So we're a large privately held company. That's just not very common for people to see some of those bottom line numbers and really understand how the business works. I hope I answered all your questions there, Steph.
Yes, it's great. Thank you, Eric. It's exciting to hear the different dynamics of what you have to offer and that it's very hands-on and the one question that I have, and you may have answered this, so I apologize if it's a duplicate, but as far as like opportunities for like professional growth, you hire on the interns, you have a large internship program, and you said majority of them stay on as a full-time employee. And is that kind of in the same department, or do you kind of figure out maybe what's in their wheelhouse of learning once they get through the internship and maybe go in a different department? Or tell me a little bit more about the statistics with like staying within the company and the professional growth opportunities.
Sure. So I would say that factors that come into play. So the size of the location that someone works at will determine different opportunities. So for example, we do have a few larger locations in our division that maybe have somebody whose their primary role is purchasing, because there's so much material, there's different pricing things to negotiate with vendors. There's someone who's strictly in charge of that. If you walk into our building in Eau Claire, that's probably a duty that's shared by 3 or 4 people. And so I think that when we talk about people, I'll just give you a few examples in the last maybe 3 or 4 years of people who we've had people go into inside sales positions. Maybe they said, "Hey, I like I'm just going to use Eau Claire as an example because it's pretty close to your university. So let's just say, hey, you know, this person did an internship in Eau Claire. They're not really interested in the management training program because all their family's in the area and they don't really want to go to other parts of the state, but they really like what they're doing there. Maybe there's an opportunity for them to do inside sales there. And to, again, most of our opportunities have a sales focus. I have to be careful when I use sales because sometimes that's a word that can scare people away. I'll tell you, as someone who sort of felt that same way when I came to the company, like, ooh, do I really want to be doing sales? It's all about building long-term relationships. It's not nearly the high volume type thing. So we've had people go into project quotations. So some of our larger locations are doing business with larger contractors who are building large facilities and hospitals and strip malls and universities, or doing significant work there. And so we need people to quote those projects. Those are opportunities. We have need for back office help and operations. And so it just sort of depends, especially once someone has interned for us. Not only do we understand some of their strengths, but they have a better idea for what each department looks like. So we typically don't hire for department-specific hires, but when someone interns with us, again, we sort of have that mutual understanding of what is someone interested in. Our management training program, we hire a lot of people into that as well. Again, just each case is a little bit different, and we're a company that's very good about working with individual situations. We're not like super high structured, well, like, oh, you either have to start on this day or we don't have an opportunity for you. We really think that decentralization is a strength of ours, and that does help us convert a number of people to full time.
Excellent. Excellent. So, question about having a background. You had talked about doesn't necessarily have to be salesy, but with the knowledge of electrical components, is that something that they go through an intense training program, or do you like to have some sort of construction background?
That is a great question. One of the most common questions that I get is, hey, I don't really know anything about electrical. Like, would that be okay? I think about 98 to 99% of the people that I talk to don't know anything about the electrical supply industry. That was me 100%, when I started. And so, yeah, a lot of that's why it takes some time, is because, I again, to use my grocery store comparison, if you had never, ever been in a grocery store before, and we walk you in there, you're not going to know where anything's at, right? You might not even know what a lot of this stuff is. But if we're going to have you be the manager of the grocery store, and 2 or 3 years in, if I say, hey, where are the eggs at? And you're like, let me see if we stock that. Hold on. It could really damage your credibility. And so, no, the short answer is that we don't require any previous experience with electrical supply. Again, we want people that have a business mindset, are interested in sales. Someone who's a hard worker, can learn quickly, and is good at taking initiative and asking questions, can really pick up on it quickly. And we also give people a lot of real world on the job training. It's not very much like classroom or workbook oriented. We do have those situations occasionally, but we certainly don't like sit you down for 2 months and say, okay, study. And we want it to be a lot more real. There's a fair amount of like industry jargon and slang that gets used. And so those are only things you can really encounter by going through the repetition. So we need people who aren't afraid to pick up the phone and interact with customers and really learn through those situations.
That's excellent. Thank you very much. I'll make sure that the jobs that you have posted on CareerLink have indicated the other majors that could step into a role and not have the construction background, because I think people get in their mind that that I don't know that, so I can't work there, and forget that there's training opportunities and learning potential. So that's
Yeah,
wonderful
sometimes we
information.
get like engineers who they say, "Oh, I see you guys do like electrical. Like, can I be involved with product development?" And I have to tell them like, "Well, we actually don't do any of that because we're just selling the materials." So
Yep.
we welcome people that have an engineering background. One thing that we do look for, we don't typically post this, but we do look for like switchgear specialists who are interested in looking at those one-line diagrams, and interested in quoting some more technical aspects of things. We use some of those in our larger locations, and so we do look for people like that from time to time. But we welcome people with those types of backgrounds, but a lot of times there's misalignment between the sales aspect of things and There's some people in engineering that maybe are a little bit more analytical and they want to focus on some of those aspects of it and not as much like the sales and management of people.
Excellent. You've been incredibly thorough with everything. And
I'm in prime recruiting season, so I would hope so at this point.
yes, this is excellent. Excellent. I just wanted to, again, open the floor up to Adam in case he had some questions or comments before we wrapped it up and I didn't get him, allow him to do that. So certainly pop in whenever. But as far as our time together, Eric, it was very informative and incredibly thorough. And I appreciate the time that you've taken out today to discuss what your opportunities are and what you have to offer. And because I had, I'm not familiar, so it was something new for me. Um, I appreciate all of the information.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And yeah, I'm always happy to connect with people on LinkedIn to talk about the opportunity. And that's why we made this role as a recruiter in our division. It wasn't a position that we had. And we know that while our products are all over the place and you might very well be using them on a daily basis, it's not an industry that people really think about or know that exists. And
Right.
we don't have a big brand name recognition, but we're really eager to, we especially just due to proximity, again, our locations in La Crosse and Eau Claire, they've cumulatively, I think they might have more than tripled in size in the last 5 years. And so it's a great time to get on board. We are a division and a business. It's an essential business. We're doing very well financially as a company. And so, if you are thinking about those things, where you want to be building a career, I think that, for me, being about 6 years into the professional world, I really feel like I am building a career for the long term with CED. And I really feel good about the way that our company does business. And we really invest in both our individual business units and the people that work there.
Excellent. I do have a question. It reads, just one question. Is Beloit, Wisconsin, one of the areas where potential internships are held? I am very familiar with the area, and I used to drive past the CED building every day to go to work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can certainly look at that area. I think it ultimately comes down to what are you looking to do in an internship, and I'd be happy to have that conversation one-on-one. But yeah, we can certainly look into having an intern in Beloit. It's not a location where we've had a ton of them over the years. Sometimes if people are looking to be specialized in one department, Beloit is a fairly small location. So if you're willing to be a jack of all trades and do a lot of different things in the business, and it can be a really amazing opportunity to work in one of our small businesses as an intern.
Excellent. Thank you. I will send Adam your email after this,
Yeah,
if
that'd
that's
be
okay.
great.
And then you guys can have a side conversation and have any other additional questions answered. And I'm getting another message, another question. And he said,
Cool,
great,
yeah.
thanks. Great, thanks. You're very welcome.
Excellent. You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. I appreciate it as well. Being a new program and with COVID and everything virtual, it's just been exciting to have the opportunity for the employers to still come on and give some great information for the students, and then they can view it as their schedules permit. So I appreciate the time that you've taken out today, and we'll be definitely in touch, keep in touch, and hope that when we're able to be in person, that we get to meet face to face at career conference or another employer in residence program, or if you're on campus doing a visit or meeting with an instructor and having a conversation to classes. So look forward to that relationship with Stout.
I'm looking forward to it too. Working from home
Yes.
is kind of fun, but I miss being able to meet people and make those relationships. One thing I will mention, cedcareers.com. You can apply for all of our positions through there. You can also do that through your school website. All those resumes eventually filter through me. Cedcareers.com does a good job of explaining what we do. I'm not usually one to say, hey, go watch videos, but I actually think our videos are pretty good. They're not that long. So if you're watching this and you're sort of saying, I don't really understand what they do, I would encourage you to go to cedcareers.com and spend 5 to 10 minutes, and I think you'll have a much better understanding.
Oh, visuals are definitely helpful.
Yeah,
for sure.
And like I said, I really do think our videos are worth the time.
Sure. Well, I will definitely make sure that that's on the website as well when we get this uploaded, that there's, that additional link for people to go to. And I will make a note for myself so I won't forget. Awesome. Well, again, I appreciate it. We're wrapping up the time, and if there are no further questions, I will once again say thank you so much for the opportunity to hear more about your path and the employer that you enjoy working so much with and the opportunities that are afforded to our students. It's very impressive. So
Thank you, Steph, and thank you to everyone for listening.
You're very welcome. And it's good to meet you via the virtual. And we look forward to seeing you on campus
One of these
soon.
days, hopefully soon.
Exactly. Well, you take care and have a good day.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.